So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about the change in right to work. This is out of Michigan, and this is pretty interesting. Uh, the Michigan House has approved the repeal of the state's right to work law, and this article is from Joey Capoletti, but it's all over the news, and this one is out of the AP, but it truly spans all of the news. Let's get into what right to work is because it's often misunderstood, and then we'll go from there. So, right to work is the labor law in the United States, which is a state law, right? It was allowed by I believe, the Wagner Act in 1948, I believe, but it prohibits union security agreements. And what this ultimately means is that unions union security agreements are where all employees in the union or all employees represented by the union must pay into the union. They must financially support it. But if there is no union security agreement, there can be a lot of free riders, a situation where people get the benefits of a union, but not actually pay into it. And it's very simple, and this is a really widespread law. We'll get into the specifics surrounding where it's found, but it's probably the most active anti-union law on the books for specific states, because it is absolutely sort of handicapping them in many ways. So let's be clear here. This is a propaganda poster, but here's some of the statistics that a union has brought forth in right to work states. Um, Wages are $6,000 less in a right to, or a right to work state. Poverty rate is 14.8% higher. Health benefits are 16.3% lower, and workplace fatalities are 54% higher in right to work states. Now let's be clear here. Um, so, for example, it, right to work states are poorer, and they've been poorer since the beginning of time. Uh, they've been poor before right to work ever existed, and as a result, you know, the poverty rate may be connected to right to work, but it may not be. And we should recognize this when we see statistics like these being bandied about. There is absolutely an economic impact, but some of this is a little bit questionable. The results and the economic studies are a bit questionable. This is an image that I wanted to sort of articulate a little bit. You see here the general map of the United States and where right to work states are versus non-right to work. Right to work states are heavily in the South as well as the West. Non-right to work states are uh, in the Northeast and in the West. The interesting thing about this is that uh, when the Republicans controlled the Michigan House, this is subsequent to, so Michigan was a right to work state. This image was clearly done in around 2010, roughly 2011. Shortly after this image was made, the Michigan switched to the right to work state after a vote in the House, and then again is just switching back here recently. You can see the greater GDP growth for the right to work states. It's a little silly, and again, I'm not sure that the correlation is totally there. On Wednesday, March 8th, it was passed that repealed the state's right to work law that was passed more than a decade ago when Republicans controlled the state house. And repealing it would prohibit public and private unions from requiring that non-union employees pay union dues, even if the union bargains on their behalf. And it's been a top priority for Democrats for a while. The interesting thing that I find in addition to this is that there's another law that has changed it slightly, which I'm kind of maybe I want to dig into later. It says legislation restoring the state's prevailing wage law, which requires contractors hired for state projects to pay union level wages, was also paid by the House or approved by the House. And that one's interesting. It's very much to me, it sounds very much to me like a special interest bill, because what this does is it then puts non-union and union contractors on the same footing when they're uh, bidding for jobs with the state. And as a result, it may give the union contractors an upper hand in these matters. And I think it's an interesting bill. It's not one that I particularly hate, but I think it's again, union level wages. Why not higher than union level wages? Why not anything else? And when they have laws like this that seem so very specific, it's kind of clear to me who's writing the laws. What do you think about today's video? Please comment down below, like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.